Let's make something clear.
Being cast in a superhero movie is certainly a big honor. Seeing as how those are the biggest movies in the world right now and continually break box office records. On the other hand, it's also no easy task. In order to play a superhero, you kinda have to look like a superhero, and that's a lot easier said than done. Superheroes are typically muscle-bound, athletic freaks of nature, dreamt up by some creative cartoonist with a knack for the unimaginable. The actors playing these roles are, well, human. So how do they get ready to play such impressive roles with such high physical expectations? They train their butts off. There's no shortcut around hard work, and that's something that each and every cast member of the MCU had to learn the hard way. With Phase 4 getting underway, there's a whole bunch of new cast members being added to the mix, who will undoubtedly be getting ripped, toned, and jacked up for their upcoming Marvel roles. Here's how 10 Marvel actors are getting in shape for their roles in the MCU's upcoming releases.
Those are some big guns.
While on the subject of Guardians of the Galaxy, we need to discuss the transformation of Chris Pratt. Parks and Rec fans probably remember him as the lovable, doughy doofus Andy Dwyer. Sure, he likes to imagine being an FBI agent, but nothing about that character or that guy ever gave off any actual superhero vibes. That is, until Marvel came calling and Chris Pratt got into certified superhero shape. Over a 6-month span of working with a personal trainer and a nutritionist, Pratt dropped about 60 pounds after starting out at around 300. Pratt would train 3 or 4 hours per day, doing a bevy of different workouts including pull-downs, rows, curls, and push-ups. That all sounds pretty tough, but according to Pratt, the hardest part was peeing. Yep, you heard that right. As part of his nutrition plan, he was required to drink a lot of water, which means frequent trips to the bathroom. When asked about his transformation, he admitted that the toughest part was peeing all day long, every day. It took almost 10 years of appearing in Marvel movies for Black Widow to finally get her own movie. Too bad it comes after the character's untimely demise in Endgame, but she's getting her own standalone movie nonetheless. As you might assume, being one of the original Avengers is no walk in the park. Not to say that Johansson was in bad shape by any stretch of the imagination, but it takes a whole other level of dedication and discipline to suit up as the Black Widow. Johansson's workout regimen combined cardio with circuit training and infused a bunch of MMA when outside of the gym. She and her trainer would keep things interesting, infusing a lot of different equipments like TRX cables, resistance bands, and good old-fashioned dumbbells.
Alright, enough.
This sort of routine helped her burn fat while also building that superhero strength. Her trainer, Bobby Strom, set specific milestones every 12 weeks, such as a 245-pound deadlift, pull-ups, single leg squats, and push-ups with a 45-pound plate on her back. Plus, she coupled this rigorous training style with a focus on eating clean and sticking to a mostly vegan diet. I say mostly vegan because even Scarlett admits to slipping up and having some of her favorite chocolate cake a couple of times. Speaking of butt-kicking woman of the MCU, there's Natalie Portman. Her character, Jane Foster, has been announced as the new Thor in the upcoming 4th installment of the franchise, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Feels pretty good.
The details about how Jane Foster becomes the titular character are still vague, but if Portman is going to become a hammer-wielding god, she better bulk up a little bit. Even during the Comic-Con press conference announcing her as the next Thor, Portman admits that she was surprised by how heavy Thor's hammer Mjolnir actually was. There should be no doubt that she'll be ready come time for filming though, as Portman is notoriously committed to the role she plays. It's a huge undertaking, but she's certainly up for it. According to her trainer, Portman's training will involve a lot of overhead pushing movements in order to really get those Thor-like shoulders and arms.
Okay.
Perhaps the most astonishing transformation of all is comedian Kumail Nanjiani. You probably recognize him from his movie The Big Sick or as a computer programmer in the hit HBO show Silicon Valley. You definitely don't remember him as the chiseled, godlike physical specimen you're looking at right now, because that guy is brand new. Nanjiani is set to play the role of Kingo, a master samurai character from the upcoming Marvel film The Eternals. For the superhero superhero role, he decided it was appropriate to get in superhero shape. After all, an all-powerful celestial being doesn't necessarily bring to mind images of a computer programmer or stand-up comedian. Nanjiani has been transparent about how he was able to achieve this look. In an Instagram post, he admitted that having the resources he has at his disposal, like time and money and a personal trainer, all provided by the studio, is what helped him reach this point. He made sure to note how difficult this sort of transformation would be to the average person who doesn't have the luxury of focusing solely on getting in shape for an entire year. Another new title set for release in Marvel's Phase 4 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Actor Simu Liu will play the lead role and become the most skilled martial artist in the entire Marvel superhero universe. The film has the luxury of a year in pre-production, so Liu will have plenty of time to brush up on his combat skills as well as get into prime superhero shape. In an interview, Liu commented that he's currently training very hard and that his stunt coordinator Brad Allen, who's a phenomenal martial artist in his own right and who trained under Jackie Chan, has assembled a wonderful team of professionals to surround him with. He's also mentioned that he's already been fitted for his costume, so it's safe to say he won't be bulking up or trimming down too much for the part. Brie Larson took her role as Captain Marvel seriously. When it comes to playing a superhero from outer space, you can't just look like any regular human. You need to be impressive, and that's exactly what Brie Larson did. Her commitments to being the hero of Marvel's first female-led movie meant a rigorous training routine. There's a lot of CGI and special effects in these superhero movies, especially when dealing with aliens from outer space, but Larson's strength was 100% real. When describing her workouts, she says, "We'd go from mobility into activation work, which we considered a warm-up, then into primary strength exercises. Her sessions would consist of a lot of squats, bilateral exercises, unilateral moves, hip hinge work, hip thrusts, and pull-ups. When those primary parts were all worn out, they'd move on to the secondary exercises to make sure that her joints were supported and her muscles were activated." Honestly, just saying all of that was tiring. It may or may not come as a shock to you, but it certainly did for me when I found out that Chadwick Boseman is 42 years old. Watching him pounce around as T'Challa, the lead role in Marvel's Black Panther, you'd never be able to tell that this dude is in his 40s. That's thanks to a workout regimen featuring karate, kung fu, capoeira, and jiu-jitsu. That sounds like a lot of hard work, but Boseman apparently loves it. He recently said, "The physical part is what makes it fun for me and helps me get inside the character." In an interview with Men's Journal, Boseman described his workouts by saying that he rarely stops moving during his sessions. He made sure to focus on staying long and lean, like an NFL wide receiver, rather than getting too bulky. According to reports, he was already training in martial arts, but added an extra 4 hours per day to his routine in order to get ready for Black Panther. Much like the previous entry Brie Larson, Boseman will undoubtedly reprise his role as T'Challa sometime soon in the not-so-distant future. Another Black Panther cast member, Lupita Nyongo, had to endure a 6-week boot camp prior to filming. The boot camp took place in Atlanta and was run by the movie's stunt team. The sessions would start off with 4 hours of training per day and then be reduced to 2 hours when she started bulking up. She was quoted as saying, "It was intense. It meant I had to get into particularly good shape to be able to do the stunts." After all, her character in the movie is not one to shy away from a fight. Luckily, she loved the physical elements of the project. She even recalls going home for a Christmas break and no longer fit into any of her clothes. Talk about packing on some muscle. Karen Gillan basically had to reprogram her entire life when she took on the role of Nebula in the Guardians of the Galaxy. When she got cast, she started introducing intense workouts, both in the gym and in martial arts, to her regimen. Gillan had to train regularly on cardio to build her stamina, while also work out heavily with a focus on her legs. That meant squats and deadlifts became her new best friend. She also completely changed up her diet, increasing her intake of protein shakes as well as copious amounts of apples and almond butter. Perhaps the largest change was her martial arts training. She went from no background whatsoever and had to learn how to fight. Gillan got a sound understanding of martial arts in her pre-production training, and the results certainly showed on screen. For those who didn't know this already, Dave Bautista was actually a hugely successful professional wrestler prior to transitioning into acting and landing a role in the MCU. A former world champion, calling him muscular would have been an understatement. He was straight up jacked, with muscles popping out of other muscles. For his role as Drax the Destroyer in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Bautista actually had to shed a bit of mass. For the first time, he hired a personal trainer to help him reach his goal physique. He knew he could look big, but he was dedicated to looking like a superhero, which meant keeping his large frame but trimming down certain areas, specifically his waist. He wanted his muscles to look more sleek and rounded, with a tapered waist and a wider back, like you see in the comics. In order to achieve the desired look, Bautista went back to a bodybuilding style of training, but not with heavy weights. Instead, he focused a lot more on power training. Needless to say, by the time filming rolled around, he looked great, and I'm sure he'll look equally as impressive in the next Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Those were some pretty remarkable transformations, and as the MCU keeps cranking out new movies, I'm sure we're gonna see plenty more just like this. Which one was the most mind-boggling to you? Let us know in the comments below. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant to stay up to date on all of our latest releases. Until next time, see you later.